So, warm welcome to all of you, friends. And I will start on time, even if some people come in a little late, that's okay. So, I would like to welcome the participants Ashwin, Bharat, Chandan, Deep, Vakade, Ganesh, Sahil, Satyanarayan, Shiva, Sriranjani, and Subhash. I'll also like to introduce you to Dr. Ramswarup Bhaskar, who is also going to be a co-speaker along with me. I'll briefly introduce myself too. Dr. Ram is a MTech and a PhD from IIT Kanpur, and currently an an assistant professor at IIM Jammu, teaching entrepreneurship among many other things. In fact, he is also incubating he is helping incubator at IIM Jammu. He has helped the same way in IIT Kanpur under Dr. B.V. Funny, who is also the chief investigator for E&ICT Academy, under which we are doing these programs. Okay. So the way we will go about doing it, in fact, we have more people joined us as we go along, Aruna and I think Ganesh, Ram, Kushi, Medansh, all of you have joined. Sri Harini, very, very warm welcome once again. My name is ARKS, ARKS Srinivas. I'm an alumnus from IIM Calcutta. Very likely that some of you would not have been born when I finished that. That is way back in 1997, almost 28 years back. But some of you probably would be already working, already in school, college that time. And currently, I am also a PhD scholar at IIT Kanpur, working on similarly education and entrepreneurship. And I also run the E&ICT Academy under a company or a Section 8 company, we call it, a not-for-profit company that we call it as IFACET, IFACET, the IITK Foundation for Advanced Consulting Education and Training. So this particular session is a very short, sweet session we would like to make between Dr. Ram and myself. You can ask any questions that you have. The idea of entrepreneurship essentials as a course itself is to ensure that you get started off. You get started off from any kind of an idea that you might have and take it to fruition. This is our second batch which we are starting off, and I very, very believe that I think a lot of you would be very interested when you come down to the campus to IIT Kanpur for a very brief immersion of 2 days. There will be a lot more of interaction too, but today it's kind of a webinar that we are kind of planning so that between Dr. Ram and myself, we will give you an overview of what really entails entrepreneurship and how we will help you kind of scale new heights and actually start and of course scale new heights. Before I start, can I ask a very, very basic question to all of you? Once again, a lot of you have joined. Ashwin and Jayasuriya have said yes, but can I very, very briefly, all of you who are on screen and are listening to me and can see both Dr. Ram and myself, can you put a Y on the chat window to everyone so that we know that you are able to hear us very clearly? Just a Y. That's lovely, lovely. It's always nice to see that, okay, we are not talking to somebody else and we are talking to you. That's lovely. That's as good as possible. So Dr. Ram, what I will do is I'll kind of set the tone for this session, and then I'll hand it over to you to take you through, to take the entire participants through what exactly entails entrepreneurship kind of things. So I will probably talk about what I know and I have been. Oh, just a second, yeah. I think I'll have to come back, guys, in a moment. Ram, in the meantime, if you can speak, I'll just have to quit and rejoin for a very small minute, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah. Hello all, and a very warm good afternoon to everyone. as Mr. ARKS Srinivas already introduced me, I teach entrepreneurship at IIM Jammu, and we have recently closed this entrepreneurship essentials course, one batch of it, and now we are starting another. Given the great demand this course has, so what we do in this particular course, I would like to walk you through the contours of the course, or sir, you can, if you are available, you can.
Yeah. Now I'm back again. So once again, let me just do a little bit of a reject. So once again, Dr. Ram will take it over from me in a moment. I just had to go out and come back. But here is what I would like to ensure that all of you are. Can you see the screen by any chance? I mean,
Yes, we can see your screen, complete screen.
one second. There is a problem.
It asks Zoom.
I think you are able to see the entire screen.
Yeah. Yeah, now we are only able to see your particular window of this PPT. Yeah.
Okay, is it all right? So here is what we will take you through, my friends. And I think any questions that you have, you can always ask us as we go along. Like I said, a lot of you have joined this very specific session on entrepreneurship essentials. But more importantly, I think what we would like you to go through in this webinar is to get a hang of what entails entrepreneurship. What makes a decent entrepreneur? How, I mean, I'm not going to get into differences, but a lot of questions to be asked. But I'll say, just hear us out for the next few minutes, few maybe 30, 40, 50 minutes. And then we will kind of help you take your next step on your entrepreneurial journey. Now, before I start, I would like to welcome you to E&ICT Academy, IIT Kanpur. E&ICT Academy is Electronics and Information and Communication Technology Academy. This was started in 2015 by the Government of India with 7 different institutes starting this, academies as such. One of them is IIT Kanpur. There is an IIT Guwahati, IIT Roorkee, NIT Patna, NIT Warangal, MNIT Jaipur, IIIT Jabalpur, 7 of them which have started. In the phase 2, which has started in 2023, another 7 more have been added, including certain CDACs. But the primary purpose of what we are trying to do is to increase digital footprint of India, digital India under the digital India footprint. What are we trying to do? We try to upskill and reskill people in emerging technologies, entrepreneurship, management, and communication skills, soft skills kind of things. The idea here is tomorrow, in fact, the way I look at it is that the number of changes that are happening in the world, technology-wise, and the way business has to be done itself, I think it is very imperative for anybody in the country, and definitely for each and every one of us, not only you, it's for us, to kind of understand what's happening and to take the right steps to reach it. With Trump doing all kinds of trends the last few days, for the last 6 months, it's become even more imperative. If India has to be a global power, which it is aspiring itself to be, the only way it will happen is when we have the right kind of entrepreneurs, embracing technology, embracing innovation, and making sure that kind of you deliver kind of things. So what I'm going to take you in the next few minutes is what is the right step, the first step if you are an entrepreneur. What is the kind of, from where do you take from idea to a startup? You can always ask any questions in between, just to kind of do that, because I don't want it to be a one-to-many kind of things. But like I said, if context setting might help you to kind of understand where we go from. So first and foremost, let me once again tell you why I am good enough to tell you, or whatever that is. My name is ARKS. I said I'm an alumnus from IIM Calcutta, 1995 batch. That's almost 30 years back. Shit, I can't believe this is 30. A few days back, I was telling 25 years we went. Anyway, 95, 97 batch, that is. I'm an entrepreneur. I have started my own, 3 different companies, 4 different companies, actually sold all of them, and now working with IIT Kanpur as such. I've been a mentor to students for the last 2.5 decades. Worked with Maruti Suzuki much before that. Even before that, I sold antivirus software. Most of you will not even know, called Nashot, in way back in 1993-94. That is where my journey of sales started. Maruti, and of course in education. I hope that the little bit of an experience that I have, and the learning from both IIM Calcutta, IIT Kanpur, and the vast number of people I do meet. More importantly, that networking that helps me to understand what people are doing kinds of helps you also to be really valuable. This inputs also to be very valuable to you in your own journey as such. But let's start with a very fundamental question. Everybody has an idea. Trust me. In fact, when you are having chai with your friends, when you're having drinks with your friends, when you are in your washroom in the loo, sitting in the loo, you will keep getting these ideas. All of us keep getting these ideas. The idea is, yes, Medan, she will get a recording. The important thing is to understand that why are so many ideas which are there are not seeing the light of day. Why do they fail? In fact, a lot of them fail even before they start, because they don't even start. But a lot more of them start, but they don't reach even 3 years, 5 years of their existence. In fact, somebody says in one of the things that if you can reach 7 years of existence, it's like a marriage. If you can finish 7 years of your existence in your organization, with your organization, chances that your marriage will survive. Similarly, your startup will survive. But even before you start something, it makes some understanding, some sense to understand why some things fail. There are multiple reasons, as you can see on the right hand side: bad time management, wrong product timing, founders disharmony, lack of business development, etc., on the top. But the fundamental 4-5 reasons are here. The first one, that the product and the market are misfits. I'll explain this. Remind me when I am talking about my personal inputs that I want to give you on this. What happened with the product may be brilliant, but if the market is not ready for it, or the product is not good enough for the market that we want to sell it to, if there is a misfit in that, it will fail. It is too early or too late for the market, the product will fail or the business will fail. The single most reason, apparently, I'm using the word apparently because it's a research. There are many reasons, but one big reason why startups fail is a product market misfit. The second is, of course, the most natural one. In fact, I always used to believe that the second one is actually the first one, that cash not being there, lack of capital. Capital in this case is cash, money. Those of you already know it, fine. Those of you don't know, here the lack of capital means lack of money. You have a brilliant idea, you have excellent team, you have good customers also, you have everything going, but if you do not know, if you don't have the capital to survive, what I mean is, if you don't have the cash to survive, you will be gone. This also, between the first and the second, I'm going to talk about why we failed. I mean, I told you I have done multiple businesses. Some of them I have been very, very good. Some of them I have failed. Learning from the failures also is an important thing. Then there is intense competition can happen. There are 2 strategies you would hear about getting into business. One is the blue ocean strategy, but the other one is a red ocean. There's no strategy there. Red ocean means everybody is there. Everybody is trying to sell the same things right now. Whereas a blue ocean is where you are the only person. For example, right now, just about every Tom, Dick, and Harry, every person and his uncle are jumping into AI. without even understanding the full form of AI probably sometimes. I'm not saying you don't, but most of them. So the kind of competition, and if too many people join, it is going to be also healthy. One other very unfortunate thing is law and regulation problems. Look at what Trump has been doing very randomly. He has put 50% tariff, 25 plus 25%. Suddenly, shrimp exports to the US would have gone down to zero, or a textile exports would have gone down to zero almost. Or they have to find out some other places. When I'm saying zero, to the US at least. So, or tomorrow morning, the H1B thing comes up. $100,000 is asking you to pay up, cough up if you want to send somebody on a H1B visa to the US. So this kind of things, suddenly a TCS, an Infosys, a HCL, a Tech Mahindra will face a serious problem. So will, of course, an Apple, a Google, an Amazon, or a Microsoft also, of course. One other fifth one, which is not as big as other ones, is bad business model. Now, when we go through entrepreneurship essentials, what will at least, see, we cannot help you in law and regulation because nobody in the world can help there, because anything can change. You are thinking about where it is, but the rest of it can be solved. The rest of the idea, the issues can be solved. Look at the other things on the right hand side that you have: cost issues, economic crisis, or product development, or money management, or leadership, or wrong positioning, problem with with suppliers, problem with customers. All these problems, teamwork. That's another important thing. There are lots of reasons which are given to you. Lack of enthusiasm. All of these can be solved if you kind of go through certain metrics, certain ways in which we will take you through. But understanding this will help you majorly. Now, also, you need to understand that when will what affect? When will what affect? What I mean by that, if you are an early startup, the problem will be different. If you are a late startup, meaning, not late, if you are a startup which is 7 years, what can still go wrong would be different. For example, what I call it the life cycle trend. If you are at the early stage, typically the problems that entrepreneurs face, startups face, are the product misfit and the capital shortage. Whereas if you are in a later stage, that means you have worked for 3-4 years, 5 years, etc., issues will then become competition, regulatory change, challenges, etc. Why competition? You might start with a very brilliant individual unique idea, but that unique idea, if the entry barriers, meaning if entry barriers are not strong or not high. What do you mean by entry barriers? That means if anybody can enter into the same market, they can enter into a same market with similar products, then there is no barrier there. People will come in. You will have the first mover advantage, but that's not going to be enough. That is when competition will become a very, and if somebody comes with a lot of money and you don't have enough money saved up, you will kind of lose in the pricing game. We will figure it out as we go along. So when you talk about life cycles trends, this is what we possible issues that can happen. Now you might wonder, sir, ye kya hai? Entrepreneurship essentials is what you are trying to say. Why are you even starting off with the negative part? That's one question that lots of people ask. No, I am not starting with the negative part. It's like, first, anything that there is something called a contingency plan. Even in consultancy, what we look at is there is a plan A and a plan B. But what I would like you to understand as an entrepreneur, and most people don't consider, is that you might have a brilliant idea, you might have an excellent idea, you might have an idea which nobody else has got it, but if you don't take it to a proper channel, proper method, proper execution, then you're going to face a problem. And before you face the problem, if you can anticipate those things, I think you will be better off. So how do you find the real problems? Now, this is about actually getting that idea into fruition. It is not that I have some idea. Lots of people have ideas. But is there a real problem that people have? You need to do a little bit of a research, which means you please need to understand whether there is seriously unmet need. Otherwise, it's going to be like you are already selling. Somebody is selling dosa, you are also selling dosa. That is not an unmet need. But if you are selling Momo in some place where momos are not there, and there is a need, let's say a lot of Bengalis, a lot of northeastern people are there in that part of the country, and you are not selling momos, that's an unmet need. I'm just giving you a very, very random example like this. The only way you will figure it out is when you talk to customers directly. So here is what we'll say. Spot your daily pain points in various life or industries. Once you understand that, you will know that, okay, that is the kind of basic research you do. Talk to a little bit of customers, you will know what to do it. So your solution that you are trying to bring in only matters if your customers also are feeling the pain. There are three questions you can ask. Is it important? Test whether your problem is important. Meaning, does it really matter to the customer, the problem that you are trying to solve? B, does this problem occur enough so that it needs solving? So is it frequent enough, the problem? And is it urgent that they want it solved now? So any problem that you bring or try to solve with your startup idea probably should go through these three tests. Is it important? Is it frequent enough? And is it urgent enough that you want to, if you solve it, it will get sorted out. That is where market validation comes into existence. So you have an idea, whatever the idea may be. So you believe that this idea will solve a problem. That's a hypothesis, that you believe that this idea will solve a particular problem. Whether it does it or not, you need to do customer testing. You need to ask customers directly. Research, there is customer research that you need to do, market research you need to do, so that you will understand whether it is really well. And only when that happens is when the validation happens to be. So one of the key things that we talk about is in any kind of a startup for new entrepreneurs who want to start off, we tell them, bhai, talk to 20-30 real customers. Identify actual pain points. If possible, build a quick prototype or MVP. These days we call it, 10 years back, nobody used to call this word MVP, but now we call it MVP. What is MVP? A minimum viable product. The idea is the same. You don't want to wait for the full product to be made. You want to make a prototype, a simple idea. It might not have all the features, but at least a minimum viable. That means it can be sold as a full, because somebody is ready to buy 1 rupee for 1 rupee for whatever idea you have. That means that you have some validation. So take early feedback. And there are other smoke tests that you can look at, like landing pages, wait lists, small ads, to figure out whether people are flocking to your idea or not. If you can do this, the product market fit will start becoming real as far as you are concerned. Lastly, focus on solving ideally a must-have problem, but rather than a nice to have. So for example, any solution that you're giving, any product that you're giving, any service that you're coming out with, it should be must-have, because that is when the winning idea will be bigger. For example, I'll give you an example. In India, dishwashers are not a must-have a problem. It's a nice to have a problem. Whereas the ACs are a must-have problem, especially if I'm in Kanpurs of the world or Bombays of the world, anywhere where there is a lot of humidity and a lot of heat, whichever. So I'm giving you products which you'll understand very quickly. Whereas dishwasher, you don't have, it's not a must-have a problem, because in India, even today, we get maids. But if you go to Europe, if you go to the US, if you go to Australia, if you go to Singapore, you don't get maids there. So if you don't get them, it's a must-have problem. So you need to have a dishwasher at home. I'm giving you a simple idea. Any ideas that you come out with, we will talk to you individually as we go along, so that each problem that you have, that you are solving, each solution that you have for a problem that you're solving, we will kind of brainstorm and you kind of get there. Right. Now I said, I'm going to take another 5 minutes, Dr. Ram, before I kind of hand it over to you. Couple of personal experiences that will tell you. I told you there are two things about product market fix that I am going to talk about. Product market fix. 2012, I started, this is ARKS, if you can see, an organization or a company called Vista Mind Education. We were the very first institute in the country to start online live coaching for CAT, GRE, GMAT, etc. kind of things. When everybody thought about it, but nobody really did it. In 2012, 2013 is when we started off. We continued that for 5 years. We got traction, but the number of takers were not high. Why were they not high? Because people were still going to a classroom for coaching, whether it's CAT coaching, the common admission test, or the GRE or a GMAT or a SAT or a CLAT, etc. kind of things. So while I had a brilliant, and our product was good, but the market did not take it at that point of time. Had I survived till 2020, I'm not saying COVID should have come early, but had I survived, had my company survived till 2020, I would have been absolutely a millionaire. Now I'm not, unfortunately, but therefore I have to find a new idea and a market. And this is not the first one. I started a business school in 2010, along with 2012, this one. 2010, 2009, 2010, that is the time when the business schools were in a boom. I started in Bangalore. I was very clear that the kind of a business school that I want, it should be completely industry specific, where the industry needs frontline sales managers, frontline operations managers, frontline marketing managers, frontline finance managers. So my business school also was called Vanguard Business School. Vanguard itself is frontline. Vanguard Business School. You can find it out if you want to. Right now it is kind of defunct, but the website is still there. VANGUARD, Vanguard Business School, bschool.com. But now 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, I did fantastically. In fact, we did 100% placements to the students, as well as we had only 60 students for our batch, and we could easily fill the batch. And therefore we were not even breaking even. We broke even in the second year, we were also doing very well by the fourth year. 2014, May was the 2014 general elections. Prior to that, the HRD minister, now it is called the Minister of Education, then it was called the Union Minister of HRD, was Kapil Sibal. Just prior to the general election in April, May, in January, February, he came out with an ordinance. The government came out with an ordinance saying that any institute which does not have an AICTE recognition, because we took the recognition from business schools across, where we kind of looked at the right kind of inputs to give, because all of us were IIMs at that point of time. Very, very good experience from the industry. The ordinance, the decree said, any business school which does not have an AICTE recognition, which is the government recognition, the students of that school should not be given loans by the banks. For the first 4 years, SBI, Punjab National Bank, Canara Bank, Vijaya Bank, and of course HDFCs and the ICICIs of the world used to give easily loans to my students. And therefore, it was very easy for them to go through the 2 years of MBA with us. But that one single stroke of ordinance or a rule saying that the banks cannot give loans to students where the business school that they're joining is not AICTE approved, completely dismantled our entire thinking at that point of time. So from 65 students, I reduced to 20 students in that 2014 June year. And after that, it was very, very difficult to recover after that. Because at that time, the Union Minister of HRD became Prakash Javadekar. I don't know whether you remember. Those of you remember. And by the time we kind of petitioned him, etc., 1.5 years was gone. By that time, the business was gone. Same thing what Trump is stupidly doing. He says H1B visas cannot come in. Suddenly, before he can learn, if this continues for even 1 year, trust me, America is going to go down. So regulation is also important, but there's very little what you and I can do about it. We'll have to live with it and take it to the next level. So the personal experience I'm giving you only because to tell you that, look, there are positives, of course. When nobody thought about classroom coaching way back in 1997 in CAT, we started off. Much before that, I started off engineering tuitions also. And maybe I'll leave it to the other things. What are the experiences that I have? But the idea here is, look, various startups, there could be positives, there could be negatives. You just have to figure out what really works. With that, 2-3 takeaways I will give you before I hand it over to Dr. Ram. One, you'll have to keep pivoting. Don't fall in love with your idea. Your idea might be brilliant, but some other problem can be solved. So think about what you can solve rather than worrying about what is your idea kind of things. I will answer that, Medansh. Don't worry about that. That is where we will kind of look at fundraising, etc. kind of things. Okay. Next, validation saves time. So don't headlong into everything. Put everything into one basket kind of things. Don't go headlong into your startup. Do validation. Talk to customers. Talk to experts. Talk to people. Take feedback. You may not listen to the feedback. You may not really carry out the feedback, but always listen to them because it will save you time, money, and effort. Start small. Test fast. Learn quickly. It'll really, really help you, which is what we want to do. And like I said, this in IIT Kanpur, under E&ICT Academy, we run these courses both on technology and entrepreneurship. In entrepreneurship, we run it under another project name called SBERTC. Again, the project manager for that is Dr. Ram. It is Syndicate Bank Entrepreneurship Research and Training Center. We want to make sure that the best, the right kind of help is given to students and or of course participants in these kind of programs, so that we have a very robust startup culture, entrepreneurship culture, and make you successful at that. With that, Ram, all yours for the next part of it, and I'm here to answer questions as we go along.
Thank you so much, ARKS, for setting the tone of the presentation. So I would like to start with a story. It's a very good story. So can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, wonderful. Can few of you can please turn on your camera so that I will know that you are here. Otherwise, it seems like I'm talking to no one. Yeah, thank you so much, Hiren. Others also, please text. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. So this was year 2002, and Jennifer Hammond is a student at Harvard, and she went to her sister's place, and her sister was juggling with clothes. Like there was a party, and she was like, the clothes that she was having, everyone has seen them already. So that was a kind of a problem for her. So these designer dresses, she had limited, and she has already worn them at different occasions, and the audience was also the same. So she thought that what she can do is Netflix of designer dresses. This was the idea that was running in her head. So she started a company called Rent the Runway, right? But there are a few questions that are there in her mind, that were there in her mind. So is this a real problem that is worth solving? As ARKS was saying in his discourse, that the problem idea is overvalued, and problem, no one focuses on problem. We try to dive down to solution too early, right? So let's try to deal with the problem. Let's be open-ended. Let's be comfortable. Let's be comfortable with the uncomfortable things, right? So there are few key questions that were there. So is this a problem worth solving? So then that particular problem was further break down into two different components. Like, are the women highly motivated to rent a designed dress? So this is 2008, right? So are women highly motivated to rent a designer dress for 1/10 of the price? Or second question is, will the women return the dress in good condition, right? So given the cultural conditions and all different things, and there was this particular thing was not tried before. These kind of startups were not existing. So how will you know that the problem is real? Like the problem her sister was facing. So sizable market or others are also facing the same problem. And if provided, whether they will rent the dress or will return in good condition as well. So what we do, if I ask you, any one of you, if you would you like to contribute here? If this is a question that you have to answer, what will you do? Anyone, quickly? 30 seconds. Hello. What we'll be doing is we'll be trying to make these sessions interactive. So if you'll get involved, then only you'll like these sessions. Otherwise, no. As I unfold the story, please, should we make a mobile application? What should we do? Should we make a mobile application? You can just answer as why and try it. No, no. What should we do then? Okay. If the mobile application is not the answer, then the answer may be, so she designed one experiment, and what she did, she got 9 dresses, I guess, right? And she tried that with Harvard undergrads. So women try on dresses, and 35% of the women who come into see a dress rented one. Right, and 96% of the women returned the dress in good condition. So that was a fair data, and this experiment was successful. Now another set of questions emerges. So both of these questions were answered. Like whether women will rent it, yes, 35% of them are renting. Whether they'll return in good condition, yes, 96% of them are returning in good condition. And two of them has some stain or something like that, but they also got removed by easily washing it. So now next set of questions. Can we develop an online solution? Will women rent a designer dress for a special occasion if they can only see the dress but not try it on them? So earlier experiment, they were able to try it. But now if we are not allowing them to try, then also they will rent it or not. So what she did? So in Yale University, she just put a store over there. Women can see the dresses, but they were not allowed to try. And these were the results. So 55% of the women who see a dress rented one. Right. So because now earlier only 9 dresses were there, now she had kept around 300 or some those kind of dresses. So more options were there. So 55% of them rented, and 100% of the women returned those dresses in good condition. Now now you can physically see the dress, but the question is whether they'll be like doing this thing as if they are not able to see them online also, like physically also, by just seeing it online. So as you most of you have answered as no, so mobile application was not the solution, and this we called MVP. Whatever she designed, now these days we call this particular solution as minimum viable product or minimum awesome product. So, so what she did in city of New York, 1,000 women she targeted, and there was a PDF. She circulated a PDF of all the pictures of the dresses, but they can't see that particular dresses physically, and so they were not able to see that dresses in person, but they were only able to see in catalog. So our question, whether women will buy it online or rent it online. So So objective is to get the answer of that particular question or validate the solution with MVP, right? So given this, what were the results? 5% of the women rent dress, 90% of the women return them in good conditions. So all these experiments got successful, and they kicked off, and this result, 85% of the women that attended President Obama's second inauguration wore a dress from Rent the Runway. So this was a story. I will be concluding in next 5 to 10 minutes. I'll be concluding in next 10 minutes. So what does this mean? This particular method is called innovators method, wherein your actions, you learn learning by doing. You plan very less. You don't plan. You try to get all the answers by doing only. So these are the key activities. First, we try to see insights with the different questions that were there. Now, what are the needs, problems, or the jobs that are required to be done can be read as need. What are the jobs with the product or services, with the help of those products or services? What are the kind of jobs that the customers want to do, right? For example, they don't want a quarter-inch drill. So the job required is drilling a hole. They don't want a drill, right? So what are the job? What is the problem that is there? Getting insights into that, right? And then developing an MVP and validating it, right? So all these are different tools and techniques. For example, creativity and ideation to get insights. We will be dealing with design thinking, empathy building, and all those tools on these areas up till now. Then if it is an IT, then agile software. If it is then lean startups and business model canvas. So all these tools and techniques will be studying in the course, in the due course, and how these particular questions or the things that are required to be done, or an entrepreneurial journey. So these are different tools and techniques that we will be exploring, and how these techniques can help us to uncover what is uncertainty. So we'll try to uncover the uncertainty in some ways, right? Starting with the problem that is required to be jobs that to be done. So understand the functional, emotional, and social jobs, or jobs when we are saying, so needs or jobs that the customer wants to do. Understand the customer journey, and for that we have customer canvas and different things. People don't want to buy a quarter-inch drill. They want to buy a quarter-inch hole, right? How do we operationalize it? So customer personas. Who are the customers? Who are our target customers that we want to know? And then we try to make it visual. What are their attributes, characteristics, names, and jobs or needs? Summarize so we can use it. Yeah, fair enough. So the jobs or needs, emotional needs, social needs, and functional needs. So emotional needs help me feel, how we help me seem, and help me do, right? When we are seeing, this is a particular customer canvas, and this is a book, The Innovator's DNA or Innovator's Method. So you can also refer to different books that are there, but there are a lot of resources that are there, and you won't know which resource to be used when. So in a systematic journey of our entrepreneurial journey, I will be guiding you which particular tool to be used where. For example, this particular case, Rent the Runway, if we try to see what were the customer personas, right? So Miss Tina, she is a young aspirational buyer, social media active, and budget constraint, right? Another customer persona, if we see, then she is I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce, but Gwendoline. Let's try it. Gwendoline. So what she does, she is a professional and tasteful. She is impression oriented and wants something new. Right? So these are our customer personas. Now moving ahead in the customer canvas, next thing are the jobs to be done or needs. Social needs, emotional needs, functional needs, and customer codes. So what are her social needs? Appearance, fashionable. She wants to look current. She wants to look affluent. She, in terms of emotional, she wants to feel confident by wearing those dresses. In terms of the functional, so beautiful dress for an evening, acquire accessories, get the right size. Quotes, the dress was perfect. They even said they would send 2 sizes, so I could feel confident that it would fit. And they recommended the perfect shoes. My evening was wonderful. Similarly, the last segment of the customer canvas is journey line. So in terms of the journey line, yeah. So there are different steps, step 1, 2, 3, something like that. In steps, invited to a major event, see, and pain and delight points. So what are the pain points? Budget constraint is first point, because what they are trying to do, they are providing the dress at 1/10 of the price. Fashion sense. So if you get all dresses, so if you want to be current, so fashion sense, say they don't want to be out fashioned and looking good. So these are the pain points that are there, and she is very excited, stressed what to wear. So there the emotional state is two. At the same time she is stressed, and at the same time she is excited. So important event, looking good. These are the objectives. Look good for dress, spending too much, finding dress, and anxiety, excited, because both the things, as the event comes closer, perfect dress, saving money, right? So this is how she feels. So she ordered this thing from here, so she is also anxious whether the dress will fit. She is excited, the dress is perfect, and saved money, something like that. So this is how this is being done. So I provided you a very quick picture of how the MVP, minimum viable product, and how Jennifer got her answers to start her venture Rent the Runway. And once this PDF and all these experiments were successful, then she opened full-fledged. She ordered 1,000 dresses. She visited a few investors, and with initial validations, right? Initial validations, she showed those validations to the investors. Now to answer the question that I don't know. Let me will probe. We should do interview first. So now most of you said that you try to do interview, but in interview there is obvious problem. What are the obvious problem in interview? Some of you said that asking women, and you'll do interviews and all. So if I do interview, if I come to you and ask you whether you will buy this particular pen or whether you will buy this particular product, you may say yes, right? But in fact, if I come to sell that particular product to you, right? So what you feel, what you feel, what you feel, what you say, and what you do can be completely different altogether. What customer says to us, what they feel about that particular product, and what they will do. They might be, all these things might be different, and that will come under empathy, mapping. We will cover that things also, but going straight with the interviews is not the answer. Rather, doing small experimentations is the answer. Now to answer the question that the customer won't return it in good condition, then we can charge for the loss. Ask people, come work. So Medan said, how must one deal with the second most prominent reason for failing startup? Lack of capital. So if you have these things that are validated, that are market tested, now your idea is at MVP stage with a very minimum viable or minimum awesome kind of a product. You already tested your this thing. You have traction, you have balance sheet, and you did not invest much. Now you are going with to the 1,000, like you have 1,000, you want to buy 1,000 more dresses, want to increase your portfolio, want to make a mobile application, right? I want to also channelize, have our delivery channels and all these things. Now you need capital, and investors will feel confident about it because you already validated it, right? So that will be very different story. If you go with a business plan, let's skip it. So if would have been at a original class, I would have asked you about filling all these things. So it's just a guess, all the guesswork. So what we will be doing, so there are many immersion tools. As all of you were saying, interviews, yes, interviews we can do, but interviews has obvious problem, and empathy, having empathy with the end user is the way forward. Combination of advice, interviews, and ethnographic exertions and all these things. We'll start with all these things, and it starts with identifying your go-to market, GTM, who are your customers, and then building this empathy and identifying appropriate channels of delivery. Appropriate. So that we will be dealing in business model canvas, BMC, and all these things. Fair enough. If you have more questions and things, you can ask me. I do not want to do it more of in one way kind of a thing. It would be better if you'll get involved, turn on your cameras. I would like to stop my slides. So if you want more depth into Rent the Runway case study, I'll also more than happy to answer your questions about that particular story. So they were able to beg money from, I think, Vinod Khosla also. And Vinod Khosla is a very good funder. He said, if you are doing very unusual things, for example, Rent the Runway was never tried before kind of a thing, right? If you want to go into uncharted these things, which is you validated and you reduced the uncertainty, then only they will be super excited. If this involves a lot of uncharted kind of things, then these investors will get super excited about investing in those kind of ventures. Fair enough. Let me stop sharing my slides. We'll be dealing with all the entrepreneurial journey, design thinking, business model canvas, all these things. And by the end of the session, you'll be having your complete business plan. And in terms of, and that will be a very action oriented thing. We will be working on your own idea. Okay, there are many questions. We should do survey first. Kindly explain the restaurant business. Did they allow people to earn money from the dresses they rented? That's why the price was high, even with the renting them out. I'm not getting this particular question. Srinjani, Sriranjani.
So you told how the business worked, right? I just got a doubt. Maybe might be silly, but if they allowed the people who are renting those dresses can earn part of the money from the rent they have rented out.
So they had their own portfolio, right? And with the own portfolio, what they try to do, initially they bought it themselves.
Okay.
Afterwards, they went into different asset light kind of a model wherein they collaborated with designers like Louis Vuitton and different designers. But and those designers were like, the products that we can sell, we don't want to rent and all those kind of things. And then they tried to went into like buying them all and kind of things. But the customers who are renting are paying. For example, some dress is $5,000.
Mm.
So they have to pay around $500 for renting that particular dress, something like that.
Okay. Okay. Just like per hour or per day.
They had monthly subscription kind of things wherein they had
Okay.
planned of like 5 dresses and something like that. You can book your slots,
Okay.
something like that. Yeah. and they'll courier you, and then you can like wear it and courier it back, and they will dry clean it and all, and then they'll put it back into their cells, something like that.
Thank you, sir.
Hmm. So you are asking me about like sub-renting it, like people are
The
getting it in.
people are who willing to donate the dresses. That is costly, and so that others can also
No,
get
no,
the
no, no.
experience.
This was not that kind of a model. Yeah.
Okay.
How to know how much to dilute, like how to not lose control of the company. Okay. So Medans is asking how much to dilute. For example, I'll be sharing a very brief insights from the agri-tech sector. Most of the agri-tech companies, so I am analyzing the complete data of agri-tech startups in India. There are 2,700 companies which I am analyzing currently. So I have observed a trend. Most of the companies in this particular segment, they come for serving to the farmers, or and I have analyzed this particular trend that after 3, 4, 5 years, they slowly siphon to the supply chain. For example, Dehat came with E-Mitra and Kisan Mitra and all those kind of models wherein they said that farmer will be having maximum of the pie. Now what they are doing is they are another food processing company, and they are into completely into supply chain, and another brand which is selling it to the market, because the maximum of the cream is there in the supply chain, right? So I analyzed this trend, that why these people are siphoning into that particular part of the value chain, right? And to my surprise, those events or the siphoning can be mapped to getting associated with investors. So these private investors, they are asking these companies, or rather mentoring or advising them to go into um, that particular domain, right? So this question of Medans is very pertinent, but when we are talking about entrepreneurship essentials, this is something is of note of much concern as of now, right? If your equity is like your fuel, and you should know when to burn it, right? So obviously we'll be having some sessions on this particular segment, how to make sure that this fuel is not burned and should be dedicated to different stages as we in the trajectory will be flying, right, or launching our startup. So there is no obvious answer to this question, but then uh, you have to make sure that you are not diluting enough. In example of CCD also, what happened? This private placements, they had too much of the pressures and all those things, right? So yeah, that is a very cause of concern, and this is more of an later issue. The first issue is to get capital, and that too appropriately, whatever we need, or how to bootstrap in the first place, that you validate your idea, you start getting traction, you start getting money already before you onboard investors. So there are different strategies given the sector that in which you are operating. There is no hard and fast rule for every. For example, biotech startups, it takes 5 to 10 years kind of a gestation period for them to develop a technology itself. They have to be relying on the government grants, like Direct grant, 50 lakh rupees, and all those grants, right? So given the sector in which you are operating, and given the kind of thing that you are, the phase in which you are, we will be seeing like what to do and what not to. But there is no specific thing or specific answer that every startup should be doing like that, right? Now to deal with the next question. So, Medans, did I answer your both the questions? Yes or no? You can just give me a thumbs up. Medans is saying yes. Now the next question is, in the recent times when everyone is building in the AI domain and building with or for that domain, how do you stand out to actually build something with is useful for both the customer and founder as well? which is actually builds a legacy as business and also creates an impact in the society. So everyone is building on AI. Why both these things are those statements can be like, if you are building with AI, at the same time it can be creating shared values for both, for the founder and for the customers, right? So when the problem is established and if you are working for the jobs to be done, right? So and the problem you are validating it, then obviously it is good for all, I think. This question is contradicting it to itself. uh, Agamdeep ji, can you please clarify if I am getting it wrong?
Sir, actually, I want to know that, like in the recent times, everyone is building with the AI domain. So, how do you stand out in the AI domain? Because I want to build in the AI domain itself. How do you stand out so that you can create a impact in the society as a founder itself? You can profit from it, and you can also provide some value to the customer, so that customers can also profit from it.
Can I
Yeah,
answer?
yeah, please ask. Yeah.
So Agamdeep ji, first and foremost, you want to see, first question that you need to ask yourself: you want to go into AI domain because everybody else is going to AI domain, or do you have a real problem that you want to solve, which can be solved with the help of AI?
Sir, I want to solve a problem which can be solved with the AI domain. I'm not like everyone is doing, so I also want to do. I actually have a problem and I want to solve it with AI.
Okay, so if you can solve it, the only success factor is two things. One is, rather three things I will tell you. The first success factor that I will tell you is that your product really works and it solves a real problem that you are trying to solve, and your customer acknowledges it. All these things are the same. The second is you have enough money to be able to build this product properly so that it can see the light of day, like I said before. And the third one is that you have enough money to be able to market this. These are the three key fundamentals for any business, by the way. More so because पहले क्या होता था, we had slightly longish times to succeed. With the AI area, with AI coming in so much into the daily lives, you don't have too much of a runway. You will have to do it very, very quickly, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months. Otherwise, you will be out of the run. Somebody else will come in. Okay, so that is a key thing that you need to understand. So the success depends on whether it's solving it properly, to the alacrity with which you're kind of deploying it, and also the money to make sure that at least there are enough people who will kind of buy, so that the market gets to know it.
Yeah, to add on to the ARKS
Thank you.
point, so what he's trying to ask is, according to me, like whether he should be using the AI as a tool or not. Like, so when I was showing the drill wala slide, in that someone wants to have a nail in their wall, right? We don't go with a drill. If that nail can be hit with a hammer, then we don't need a drill. AI is a tool. If you can solve the problem very efficiently, then you won't need AI, right? Without AI, if you will be able to do, fair enough, please do it. If you need AI and that can be done in a better way, go with AI. Fair enough?
Achha,
Thank
I
you,
think
sir.
Ashish has been asking some question. Have we answered that, Ram?
Which one?
I think Ashish, would you like to ask this question directly once again?
Rudik Kedare is sharing something, whiteboard, something like. Okay. Aman, in the next sequence, we are trying to get this
Go ahead,
question.
go ahead with it. Aman.
Yeah, Aman. So why don't business become seller oriented? Why don't they become customer oriented? For example, Amazon. If someone wants to buy a dress on Amazon, there are many apps. Amazon, Miso, and many other shopping apps. But why is not there a smart choice app for the buyers? Why is is it always designed for sellers?
I mean, I didn't understand.
So
What do you
is
mean smart choice?
Amazon,
There
I
are
don't
too
know.
many things for buyers only, na? Customers only. Amazon also is for buyers. Meesho is also for buyers. Myntra is also for buyers. So what do you mean by for sellers?
There are many marketplaces. Amazon is a marketplace. Flipkart is a marketplace. So seller can be listing their product, different products at different sites, and buyer can also go to those marketplaces and buy it. What I am perceiving is Aman Chaudhary is trying to say that why is not there a common platform wherein you can compare the prices of the same product over offered by different sellers, something like that. Yes, there are many mobile applications or price comparison sites which are there. And if you think that there is some problem that customers are facing or needing some solution for that, so obviously you can go ahead and validate that particular problem, whether the problem is real or not, and then you can design some solutions for that. Next question by Raghavendra. Sir, can you please provide a proper roadmap for implementing ideas into a successful business, and what are the requirements like documentations and all other? Roadmap, it starts with the problem, whether the problem is real or not, right? The problem is in our head only, right? And it starts with then empathy building with the end user, then feasibility analysis, then market, then financial viabilities. So there are different entrepreneurial journey and steps that will be covered in this particular course itself, right? So yes, there is a proper roadmap. There are proper tools and techniques that are there. We will help you with which particular tool to use at which step, so that you can get so you can navigate at that particular step, right? Now next question is Hiren, as a nanotech founder, how to find and measure the capability of a tech co-founder?
Oh, that's a very difficult $1 million question, Hiren.
Yeah, nanotech founder.
Non-tech. No, he's a non-tech founder and he wants a tech co-founder. Obviously, a lot of people want tech guys to come in, joining them so that they can become better. Right? I mean, see, Hiren, there's no other way. You can't generally find a co-founder kind of things. It's not easy. That's all I can say. But the whole idea is to be honest with him, and you have to be honest with yourself also. What kind of a person you want? I think you need to try it out, is what I would say, Hiren. There's very little one can do about this.
Yeah, and obviously there are a few platforms that are there, foundyourcofounder.com and platforms like that.
How good are they actually, Ram? I mean, I just want to understand.
Yeah, they are working in different geographies. I have not tried them myself, but three of my students have like as of now they are working with the co-founders that they got or because based on their mutual interest. So it's about mutual belief that you have in the idea and in the team. So it takes some time to develop those kind of belief in each other, right? So this so these kind of platforms, obviously, because ours is very nascent kind of an ecosystem as of now, but they have worked in other geographies, and here also we are trying to do that. We don't have like 5-10 years kind of a thing with those co-founders, so we don't know. That would be very early to comment on anything as of now, but that can happen with a very good friend of yours also, right? So those kind of things, it depends upon the mutual belief in each other and in the idea, and that collectively you will be able to take it off. So that will you will know by learning by doing kind of in things. You will have to experiment. You will have to do many live projects kind of in thing with each other, and as the things go forward, right? I have seen many in incubators also. There are two companies that are merging at IIT KSIIC, that Novo Earth and so Novo Earth. There were only, and there was another company, I forgot the name. So there were two co-founders. Now 4 of them are having only one company. Novo Earth, ARKS and all. Yeah. Incubators can also be a very good forum for you to interact with your peers and then try to do collectively what you are doing. Next question is, can you provide on the process of getting patent on the product? Yes, there are US patent and Indian patent, and these incubations and centers, they will facilitate you to file one. We won't be able to do like algorithms and these virtual kind of products won't be patented in India, but that can be patented in the US. And there are different fees that are associated. So yeah, the dedicated team will be able to help you on that particular thing. We'll be having one session dedicated to IPs, and there will be a person who will be taking that particular session. Sir, I'm just first year computer science engineer student. I don't have a specific idea, but I'm very much interested in businesses and entrepreneurship and investing. So how can I help myself by getting idea and capital and mainly knowledge? ARKS, do you want to take it?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
First year computer science engineering student, don't have anything specific idea. Very much interested, passionate about business and entrepreneurship.
Mohit, I think you're like a lot of us. When I was in 11th class itself, I thought that I will do something on my own. I think you need to wait out. Be clear. I can clearly see that, look, you want to be a kind of a entrepreneur in terms of, boss of your own kind of things, sometime sooner or later. Read up a lot, observe a lot, make sure that you know what really is passionate about you. For example, let me just give you one small idea. After doing my MBA from IIM, I wanted to start off on my own, but I took 3 years to first finally decide that what I was doing is correct, or that is the passion that I have. I worked with Maruti Suzuki. I was selling cars for 3 years. I could have left it in year 1, year 2, year 3. All through the time, I was also doing part-time into education. And only when I was very convinced that it's not that I was not doing well in my Maruti's job, I was doing extremely well there also. Yet, you will figure out that, okay, that is one, I'm good, but this is something which I want to do possibly the rest of my life kind of things. Once you get there, at least, if not the rest of the life, at least the next few 10 years of your life, once you have that clarity, that is when you kind of, embark into it. Till that time, try doing small things. Don't have to do, big things. If you're in first year computer science, do something like an app for your own students or for your own classmates, for your own college, for that matter. Use it. For example, I have Gudu ke bare mein bata sakte ho, Ram, who started off problem with not having food.
Yeah.
I mean, we cannot have always a Swiggy or a Zomato delivering to IIT Kanpur campus. So what this friend of Ram has done is gathered together all the people within the campus who were ready to make food, and he kind of made an app which kind of allowed the food to go from one home to another home or to a hostel kind of things. And it's a brilliant thing. Now he is expanding across. So chota sa idea hai, brilliant kara hai, and then he is now expanding kind of things.
The name of the company is Campus Art. You can go and see. So they started with Kanpur. Now they are operating in BSU and IIT Patna, I guess. 2-3 more campuses, I guess. So and in fact, they started with an idea that they want to open an OLX of the campus, and they ended up making Swiggy of the campus. So
Correct.
it doesn't matter. We have to continuously reiterate the solutions that we have made until it hits, right? So we can start with any idea and like try to co-create as we go, learning by doing kind of things. And yeah, this is how it is done. Most of the time, so most of the companies, you have to continuously evolve yourself and try to be open. So next question is also for you, ARKS.
That is Kushi, is it?
Yes, Kushi Shukla.
How to deal with law obligations? Like you said, your B school faced downfall after education minister announced to only provide loans. Correct. As a startup, we don't know the upcoming rules and laws made future. I pivoted, I sold that, started another thing. Simple, Kushi. We tried it. The only way to do it is to look at this as a problem and look at how a new solution can come in, Kushi. Frankly, in your life over the next 30, 40 years, and I'm assuming you are in the 20s, you will face multiple problems. Problem is not there's a problem. For every problem, there is a solution or a pivot to a new solution. Like just now, Dr. Ram said that Gudu started with being an OLX of IIT Kanpur. He ended up being a Swiggy of IIT Kanpur. I think the whole idea is that now I am doing completely different. In fact, I was into cat coaching for a long time, Kushi. Now I am into technology, training and everything else. It's a complete this thing. But I'm a technologist. I'm an electronics and communication engineer. It became easy for me to do that also.
Yeah, to answer this question from theory, so theory of effectuation, fifth principle, it says when life gives you lemon, you better prepare a lemonade. Add some sugar into it. Yeah, theory of effectuation by I forgot the name. By Sri. If you know the name, she is some professor in. So theory of effectuation is very popular theory. There are 5 principles: co-creating, crazy quilt, and when life gives you lemon, you better prepare a lemonade. So there will be risk at every step in the startup journey. So we need to better be prepared with every kind of a risk. So here ARKS, he got an opportunity to sell it, get that money and start another venture, right? Or pivot it. Now also Dream 11 with the regulations and all. So Dream 11 and all these gaming platforms are in all this kind of a problem. So they will charter another way, and it's also called a source of innovation. So this is a particular source. Regulations act as a source of innovation, wherein it imagine like in scenario wherein there is a water and you plug one of the doors, so it finds another door to flow. It's more like that. So as you go, you will know like what are the different ways to sell or similarly package that particular product into different kind of things and sell it, right? Next question is from Sandeep. We'll take a few questions.
I will answer this question of Ashish because he's asking, how far is this course for existing entrepreneurs? In fact, we want it for existing entrepreneurs itself. There's one more thing we are doing, which is very specific course called Advanced Entrepreneurship Skills, which is in December, which is going to be a 5-day plan that we have to, when you come to campus, 5 days, Ram, myself, and 2 of others will be there to take you through a lot more drilling of that. Essentials kinds of helps you to get to that position where you want to scale up. That's the whole idea. Yes, it pretty is suitable because the people who are there in batch 1 also, Ashish, were people with some kind of an entrepreneurial background. Depends on the scale. If you are very high scale, then I would say come in December for our advanced entrepreneurship skills course.
Yeah. So there is also a very good question by John. So he's asking that whether there are government schemes that help startups kickstart their idea at idea stage with a prototype application. So if you want to do a prototype or develop a prototype, so there is a prototyping grant by DST NSTDB. It's called Prayas, PRAYAS. They provide you 10 lakh rupees. There are many prototyping grants. We will be having a dedicated session to tell you about what are the different grants that are available for different stages, for different kind of startups in different sectors. So that's done. Now, Snigdh Avasti, why all MBA graduates are not doing entrepreneurship, rather working for others? It's up to them. That is very personal thing that MBA graduates. But
Many MBA graduates are doing their businesses also. So there are always kinds of people here. Not all computer science engineers are doing engineering. Not all civil engineers are doing civil engineering work. That's okay, na? Why are we worried about it? You just have to
also
keep calling.
also kind of so in terms of MBA, so MBA should not be confused with entrepreneurship. For example, I'll give you one example. So if you talk about management as an education or as a stream, it emerged around 300 years ago, right? And that was for big companies. Up the operation research after World War II and all, industrialization was there. Before that, there was no management kind of an education, right? Now, if I ask you to sell something, right? So you will do particular survey of the different areas. You will say, for example, there are means or goal that you need to achieve. for achieving that particular goal, you will ask that you will need these many resources, right? But in startup, if I say you need to achieve that particular goal, then you don't have the luxury of those resources. You have to start with whatever resources that you have. You need to build it from there itself. You don't have a luxury of opening a complete website, getting investors and selling it off. You need to start with a PDF, right? So you, whatever the resources that are there, you need to start it from there, get your questions answered, part of them, try to take more people on your board, have more resources, and then try to achieve that particular goal. So management education and entrepreneurial educations, if that would be very unfair to imagine both of them. That's why when we are talking about entrepreneurial marketing, there is blue ocean strategy, right? When we are talking about resources, entrepreneurial finance, that's also very different. Managerial finance is different. You will have different cash flows, established cash flows, CAPM model, Ghost Jordan, dividend discount, different kind of models. But whether you will be able to use that in a startup initially, once it's an established company, obviously you will be able to use. So MBAs are trained for working in big companies. Rather, entrepreneurs, that's a different ball game altogether. Okay. Now, Aman
Then
Chaudhary.
one person is asking, Sandeep is asking, Sandeep Namasudra. Many people startup ideas come from their personal experiences, but not all local problems scale. How can founders from less privileged or rural backgrounds find problems that are both impactful and have a larger market potential? Sir, बताइए.
You'd like me to answer?
Yeah, you can answer. I will add it up. Absolutely. Either which way.
So
But so now that you have said this, let me start and maybe you can add, Ram. See, Sandeep, first and foremost, you are absolutely correct that a lot of these startup ideas come from personal experiences. But it also comes from a lot of reading, actually. Being aware of what is happening by travel, by reading, by understanding what is happening where, and then looking at how do you make it localized. So please don't think that it's only personal experience. Of course, we hear personal experiences quite a bit, but that does not necessarily mean all the personal experiences are the reason why startup ideas come in. Okay. So therefore, that first statement itself may not be 100% correct. How can founders from less privileged or lower find problems that are impactful? In fact, if you're less privileged and you are from rural background, chances are that you will have more problems to solve. Because you have a lot of, scarcity becomes for everything there is a scarcity for you. Is there anything that you can do to kind of reduce that scarcity? That is exactly when you are less privileged. What do you mean by less privileged? You don't have what all you need. If you are from a rural background, you don't have what is available, let's say in the city kind of things. You don't have capital, you don't have experience, you don't have, that is a great idea. In fact, which is where I come from, Sandeep. You should read a lot. Read newspapers, read magazines, read all the articles which are coming, read about the latest startups. Something will click for you, which can really help your rural background, if at all one from. In fact, sir was talking about something very interesting. Agriculture in the rural areas faces a lot of problems. India, what I understand, in productivity wise, is 1/3 of that of China. So in the same 1 hectare land, if let's say we are sowing maize and the productivity is something, in China it is 3 times.
And in US it's 9 times, I guess.
9 times. Exactly. So how are they doing it? The problems are clear. The problems are obvious. It's about the solutions which are important. And an entrepreneur is a person who is innovating and giving a solution which is very, cost effective, efficient, and very speedy also at the end of the day.
Yeah, to add on to this, so yes, you are right that most of the time, or like at some times, if your personal experiences, you may be facing some problem that maybe not many people are facing. So that's why we need to validate the problem, that whether many people or a sizable mass of the people are they really facing this particular problem, or whether the need needs to be answered or not, right? So with the help of the technology and kind of in things, because most of the time what happens, so if you'll go to people, they won't be able to answer you the problems also. For example, that might be the normal, right? Because before the aeroplane was there, people were not thinking about flying. Right? So there are two models of innovation when it comes: need or pull basis, or technology push. And when the radical ideas has to come, then there has to be a technology push. But the underlying needs to be changed. For example, we had been listening to music for years, right? But what from starting with the that phone, when the big magnetic disc used to be there, to those that cassette with the reel, then their CDs, DVDs, and now with the iPod, and now with that in iPod they used to download music, our own music, to now renting music through Spotify and all, right? So the need is there. How, with the help of the technology, how you will be able to assist it? People used to transport from one place to another place for years. So the need can be at center of whatever you are doing or developing in terms of the technology. So you can identify many problems that are there in rural areas and try to do a technology push kind of a thing as well. Are there more questions that we need to answer?
Yeah, a couple of. Sir, that prototype grant of 10 lakhs rupees, I have tried multiple times, but I didn't get selected. Ishita Sharma, keep trying, you will get it. Don't worry.
There are many aspects of it. So we also run a workshop how to write those grants. And there is another case in doing it. So you need to route it through one of the incubator also, Priyas Grant, right? So for one of, I'm a co-founder in one of the startup called ClimAgro Analytics. And when we started applying for the grants 2 years back, right? So so we dedicated a team, and I was not focusing on how the grants are being written. And we had applied for around 10 grants at that time, and none of those were awarded at that time. Now we applied for 5, and 5 of them are awarded. So it's how you are writing and applying for those grants is also very, 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 very important. And at the stage also, like whether the validation, partial validation is there, whether the initial traction or 5, some people are there, whether you have something that you can showcase, right? So those kind of things matters a lot, and those kind of entry cases we'll try to handle you, and we'll let you know how to write those grants. And that's not a problem. After that, are there more questions?
Medansh is asking what's the difference between traditional business and new age startups, which is sustainable and will sustain in a few years. Both will have their own positives and negatives, Medansh. Don't get into that kind of a level, I would say, at this stage at least.
Yeah.
God is a slang, is a birthplace of innovative solutions. Yes, Satyanarayan. Aman Chaudhary is asking, sir, many times we have ideas with excellent problem statements and great solutions, but the problem with these ideas is that they are socialistic in nature. We don't understand how to create a revenue model for them or how to make these models capitalistic.
This is about value. When we are talking about innovation, so you know what's the basic difference between innovation and invention, right? So innovation is not only creating value, but capturing also, right? So there are many models. For example, when Google started, right? So they were not associating any kind of a revenue stream with it. So we will teach you how to make very good business models. What are the different revenue streams that can be attached to it? Business model innovations, for example, taxi. So taxis were there, but how Ola and Uber, what they did differently, these were completely business model innovation, right? So there are many aspects of looking at it. When you are seeing calling it socialist and capitalist, there's nothing like that. But when it comes to startup, it's creating shared values to both the parties most of the time, right? We will
That's
see in
it.
detail. Yeah.
Sorry.
We will see in detail in the courses.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
yeah, because there are many concepts that are attached, and I'm the kind of person I am. I provide some stories and background and then try to explain those concepts. Otherwise, this kind of in brief time wherein you have 30 seconds or 1 minute to answer, it's become so difficult. Yeah. We can take.
Ishitati, I know you have applied through other party or proper presentation. Honestly, there are many people who are getting it without any influence, direct or indirect. I think both Ram or I, we will be able to only comment only when we see what the idea is and how you have presented it, rather than it's a generic answer we are giving you for the moment. Frankly, I think unless somebody sees it, we will not be able to give you a proper answer. I'm sure you will appreciate that. Okay, I think that's wonderful, Dr. Ram. I think this has been I hope, guys, 25 of you or 26 of you are still there out of the 40. If you can just quickly on our screens on chart, tell us whether this 1.5 hour was useful or not. Yes or no. I am okay with it saying that it was bad, but I would like to have a feedback. It will be very nice if you can quickly, put that yes, no, ugly, bad, brilliant, whatever kind of things. I think we'll be very, very happy. It was very helpful.
Yeah.
A lot of you are very nice. Yeah. Thank you so much, Navneet. Very useful to learn something that never crossed my mind. Sri Ranjani, that's Nav, Maza aa gaya. Dharmender, a lot of you are saying yes. I think it definitely gives Ram and me a lot more of enthusiasm to welcome you. Do join the Entrepreneurship Essentials class. We will see a lot of us doing successful business as we go along. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Ram.